now the market's closed. I don't feel compelled to place an order or manage an order and all that stuff. It's a different mindset, and you're certainly not at risk of the reptilian brain making you trade at the market. I don't know if anybody's been compelled to take the opportunity of a certain they see the market's going up and they're like, okay, it's just buy it already. Stop it with the I'm waiting for the setup and it's going up, so buy it. And you can't wait for the stop to get hit or the limit to get hit, and it's bothering you because I think if you're placing all your orders in advance, then you're really supposedly using logic and reason. It certainly takes more discipline not to trade at the market, and kind of a trick is to open a demo account and trade that at the market. So you have two wives. You have one that you beat and one that you make babies with, and you don't want to go to jail beating her up, but you hire a hooker to beat her up, and that's what the demo account's about. So any of the demo account, I could make $1 million on a demo account, and somebody'd say, dude, it's a demo. You weren't afraid. And if I blew up the demo account, they'd say, see, you can't trade. So I get the whole trolling thing. I get a kick out of it, the whole thing. So it's just funny. I just got done talking to a trader. I hope he's not listening. I don't think he does, because he just got locked out of his computer because Windows somehow was trying to help him with his password. He was assimilated by the Borg. He went for Windows 10, which I refused to do, and I found a little thing to keep Windows 8 from asking me if I want Windows 9.5. So I kind of opted out. I'm trying to drop out. I actually was going to keep Windows 3.1 around because it's so stable. And I actually saw Alan Holdsworth, amazing guitarist, still using like an Atari for his uncrashable drum machine. And who doesn't like stuff that works? So app schmap and Java's a mess and all that. So I was talking to this trader, and I said, I forgot he wasn't on MT4, and I said, how are you not just buying a basket of orders? I am buying one ticket. And he said I wouldn't convince him otherwise. He could have convinced me otherwise. Anyways, when I first started looking at this stuff, I found this little trick inside in the charting. So I came up to properties, and properties in the world of Windows is like options properties. So I fixed the scale here. I saw this thing and I'm like, what the hell's that? So I fixed that, and I was fascinated to watch all the currencies on the same pip gauge across the board here. So the big black's 100 pips and it's 50 to small black horizontal. I want to see who's winning, like a horse race, like an aerial view of a track, wondering what's going on there. But I found it to be today was easy to place orders. Yesterday was easy to place orders. Keeping the pip risk, 30 pips is my biggest stop here. And with these single drops, risking 30 pips to make 80 pips is a great ratio, and lasts for 8 hours. I could place it on the chart here, so you can see all the trades you missed here if you're looking back 2 days. And the market's so vertical that I also want to make these really small titles to all these. These are just single drops, nothing fancy here. This is really the way to trade. I mean, you can do those multi-drops I wrote, but you got to have some money in your account because you're committing to buy a zone. Where here you can hand place your own curve of SPI or your curve of French curve or your God knows what coefficient curve you want to put in. So for instance here, if you tile vertically and you go pip for pip fixed, all the scales are fixed, and I kind of was actually curious to see as far as the 100 pip. Now you fell through the floor here on the dollar CAD on the 1 hour, and if you're doing top bottom entries or getting in at the previous flag or triangle for a move in the downtrend and you just have to say that without thinking too hard. Let's just, how to read a price chart. It's going up, it's going up, it's going sideways, it's going down. How to read a price chart. If we zoom out to another, forget about it. But it doesn't matter, because if you're only trying to trade a bounce or a sell-off, it's all going to be about, at the very left side of this chart, there's a baby top bottom. Now, they come in all sizes, top bottom. You could have a buy stop here and a buy limit here, but you're buying in about a 20 pip zone there. The problem comes in if your targets aren't up here, and now you can always reload. So the 1 hour chart, you're like, yeah, we're going up, but let's get the hell out, reload at the 50. You could reload it twice at the 50. Held more to this thing, and last night I got out of I was in more pound than I was in this, and this one didn't have targets set for 150 pips, amazingly. I expecting a rally, but usually in this kind of behavior off the top here, the sell grid that was up there in the demo, I don't even know what it made. I have to go look at the history, because it could have just crushed through that whole order bank on that. Here today, no brainer. Right around here, never got to the 100, but a nice 50 pip winner. I had to buy in a zone here. Didn't get filled on every ticket. Same thing if you're selling this double top today. Almost to the 50. You got the trend line. You could put a bunch of stuff out, but in the end it comes down to just putting the fucking order in there. Top becomes a bottom at the 100 yard here. So this is what I was doing in the video. I said breakout, pulled back, and you had another chance to get in here. So I got in more here. We got the initial breakout, got the pullback, buy here on the pullbacks against that trend line. Great trade today. 50 pips, clean to here. Came up into that floor just like I said it would. But you can say this to a million times to people, and they call me Mr. Hindsight. They're out of their fucking mind. You go look at the video I did. Where did I say the floor was to take profits? But I'm not trying to prove anything. We all know that people are going to cash out here, and where are they going to? The sellers going to come in. They're going to come in up at the top. So you have to sell up here. At the closing price on the 1 hour chart, you're selling up there. Who can't see this? This window. This is so tight. You may not got filled on your whole thing. Maybe you cashed out, but see, I said in the video, you start selling this wick, this wick, this wick. You don't discriminate. All wicks matter. All wicks matter. You sell in this one, you sell in this one, this one, no fill. But pull back. Now, you had to wait for that to come back to here. At the end of the day, there was a there was a baby bounce there. It doesn't matter if it's going up or down. Fuck up or down. Look at this double test at the 50 to make 25 over and over again. 100. Trap. 50 pip trap on the bears down here. You make something in here. Reload. You have to be willing to keep putting trailing limits in here to get picked up. Trailing sell limits on the way down. And bounces out in front of the market in no man's land. You know this slow exists? Buy everything down here. Dump it when it comes back into the floor. Trade it both directions. I get so pissed off. I don't know why. I don't get why we can't talk about... I guess this is why you can't talk about it. Because you can't talk about zero bias trading. The guy on the phone says, yeah, I'm long the market because there's a lot of spikes in there. I'm long the market. Yeah, spikes. It could be a problem if your stop's too tight. You just got kicked out of a completely legitimate... Look at this trap in here. This is retarded. You're buying these new wicks. Look at that entry. Are you kidding me? Total auction trade. So, we're going to buy here. I'm going to buy here. What about here for the to bounce to that with a stop here? But I'm gonna put multiple orders in next week. I'll be buying that for a bounce. It's obvious what's going to happen. Do you think anybody that bought here is happy now? They bought new lows that captured this whole trap. The guy that bought all the way down, every 1 pip. Yeah, just like I said in that video. Master stop down here. Every 10 pips you bought. You didn't buy enough. You bought every 10 pips with a stop down here. Huge profits. 100 pip stop. You're going to place a 100 pip stop there. Buy that whole thing. Let it fill up. You made 200 pips on that trade. 100 pips stop. It's off the chart. You can't even see this. They never touched it. You bought this whole crush in. Just buy. No Gartley. None of that shit. You don't need it. Stop with the Gartley. You sold everything from here to here. How'd you do in that trade? Well, you're up about 100 pips. If you had a 100 pip stop up here, so you're trying to make 150 pips with a 100 pip stop, you all the way up to here. Now they crushed through that because those are 20 pip stops that got taken out with a 40 pip profit. Never made money on that one. Yeah, hopefully you got more than one. If you're swing trading, you've got all week to place these orders. All next week. It's ridiculous. So you want to scrunch out. You want to look for a support level here. Obvious buy limit. Double bottom buy limit. This was the cake trade of the week. Place an order at the double bottom. How do you know it's not going to keep going down? I don't. I mean, how do you know it's... Why not just buy the bottom? Because I don't know, it might keep going down. And after watching this thing on probabilities today, I'm studying for free. I'm studying physics online. And this probability thing, Einstein was so pissed off that he could not predict the outcome of even an experiment. You're talking about a laboratory experiment. He was pissed off. He could not predict it. What do you mean I can't? What do you mean it's chaotic? How dare you? The geometry doesn't exist. And the other guy talking today about there's no such thing as a still object. Stuff's just vibrating. Nothing is stable. No matter how nuclear, on the proton, electron, smaller than electron level, stuff's moving. And quantum stuff, right? That quantum crap. Here's a classic failure of this bottom's because of double top. We're supposed to keep tanking. Doesn't happen. But who's making the money there? The people buying that every time it comes down here for a feeding, and then they dumping right at the edge for the pullback. And you can buy at that doji again. 1 hour chart. A lot of trading. All next week, buy limits down here. Duh. Sell limits up here at the top. Dare I say, sell high. Double bottom becomes a top. Sell limits sitting there. Maybe your stop's here. That's some Gartley bullshit. Take your first scalp, trade it off of that in the other direction. Difficult to become buy trader. It's difficult. You look at the stuff on the weekend and you say, we have the mindset to trade non-directional. Look at this classic 50 pip grid trade. This is dumb as it gets. Top is supposed to become a bottom. Ruh-roh. Now this is notorious range trade, trap trade currency of all time. You buy in here, you dump at the 50, you sell at the... It's just stupid. Buy here, you dump. Buy here again. Dump into fair value where you're at now. So wherever it's now, and buy low and dump where you're at now. You are here, and then that's a trade. It's a completely legitimate trade. Sure, you can put sell limits in here because you think this is a downtrend. But how many trades are there going to be before the trend continues back? How many times are you going to get whipsawed? Don't you want to make money off the whipsaw? Look at all this garbage up here. These are like 10 pip winners. It's ridiculous. Terrible, right? But you got a buy limit here. You didn't get filled. Down here they crushed you out. But you got a buy limit down here. You can't have just one ticket. You just can't. Here you made money. You made 50 pips bounce off of that. When they came down, you're looking for them to take out 3 days of stops. So once they take out 3 days of vacuum, these wicks right here into here, you're buying that, and then you dump at the 50, or you get, and you go into the, this would be the head. These are the two shoulders that make the floor. It's the perfect head and shoulders in the 1 hour. But next week, who's not buying here? Buy limits here next week. All week long for a bounce to here, and then some are going to bounce back to this. Who's not going to sell here for a run to here with a stop here? So you place all these things. You plant all these trees. Not everything sprouts up. And just treat it like just a big giant pip garden, really. That's why I'm looking at it. I'm going to harvest all the little nooks and crannies here and all the traps. I can have a 100 pip stop here to make 200 pips. Now, granted, if the market retraces by the end of the session and you're up, you're looking for some big monster move. But these monster moves, you look on here, they don't happen very often. And it's going to still take you days for this thing to complete. 150 pip run like this. To this climax moment here, this is almost 200 pips from this floor where this internal top, you're looking for this intraday double top coming across this area right here. This is the big pullback. Everybody's been trapped on the daily breakout. Traders are like, yeah, it's a confirmed uptrend, so, or it's just, you know, these a lot of fill and pullback. Pulls back to here, it does not come back to where your other buy limits are. And now you get this triple bottom feeding zone, small ATRs, kicks back, breaks up, pulls back to the 100. Sellers are supposed to come in right here. They don't. Blows through. Now sellers are supposed to come in. They do for the trap trade. So the scalpers scalp that. There's a little chunk of liquidity there. Pull it back. You get a double bottom into this top, and you got buy limits here that didn't get filled. And maybe you missed out on getting in. There's a little wedge there, and you didn't ride this up. Obviously, it's going up, and but you could have sold here at the 100. You need a 25 pip stop on that to. But here's the pullback where you're just going to say, you know what? It's pulled back. It's not like you can't really be thinking, well, some outlandish Gartley target. Well, it's going to come back. Here's my target. We're going to sell here. When it's going up and you realize you're counter trend trading that for 40 pips, the hard part is to get back on the long trade and realize that you can make money from a counter trend move, but you're going to get back on the short train. But you really think this thing's going to... Now, the sellers are going to come in here. There will be a scalp, and maybe it does keep tanking. So you're psychologically prepared to hold that for a day. Not me. But I'll trade the battle that happens up here. I'll trade the battle that happens down here. This whole battle zone here is tradable. And maybe you do have some you let go on that one account, and you can handle letting something float away and just go, you know, it's cutting new ground here. Is this climax up here? Can you find the divergence on that? If you come off these, if you know these two tops exist, you see that failing to hit the targets. That would be the targets for the bulls. You build a channel off that. Say your channel goes back. So you got support here. So there's your classic break pullback. But you could draw trend lines there to the cows come home. But in the end, it's going to be about where do you place your order. Is this the new down channel? Is this the you know, you can speculate this all day long, but certainly you know in the end all price is horizontal, and you can buy low, sell high, buy low, back and forth. But the fixing the scale like this now, when you are on the 1 hour chart and all you care about is making, say, 40 pips, maybe your whole world looks like this, and you can see that who the fuck's not buying down here? They used to say, excuse my French, but I just can't seem to stop swearing. Top becomes a bottom of the 1 hour. There are certainly more evident and precise spreads here. I have a fixed pip broker, so they give me a 4 pip spread on CAD. 2 pips on this guy. Fixed pip spread. But that was the entry here, and you got to retest there. Here's the killer top bottom before you left the gate. Retested the flag, doji. Everybody chimes in their own time, and when one guy's cashing out, I'd be long right now if that 100. I would have scalped that. I scalped that on New Zealand dollar. I'm running New Zealand dollar another account, and if you run the just the Australia, New Zealand against the dollar, you can see the complete balancing act between those two currencies. One time the dollar's crushing one guy, and then it's coming to crush the other guy, and you're kind of spinning plates there. Here was the scalp off of that. So that was the ending trades, but you have to have a buy limit here next week. So all the way down, buy limits there, sell limits above the wicks for the kickback. Maybe sell at the 50. Sell limits up there. Always sell limits up here for kickbacks, and always going to be buy limits below this. Buy limits all the way to Memphis for bounces, and sell limits for that. It's so boring. It's so dumb. Triple top becomes a bottom for the ricochet. Retest the top. Now, you have to be willing to take your 12 pips and run here. Not all tickets are going to be. Some I got an 8 pip stop on this stuff to make 16 pips. If I do that trade here, I got to get filled on a limit, because if I get filled on a stop, I'm going to be risking. If I get filled on a stop, I've essentially got a 4 pip stop. If I got an 8 pip stop here and the spread's 4. So you're getting very ridiculous. I talked to this trader today that the 5 pip stops. Very limited trading. Sometimes you need a 20 pip stop to make 80 pips or 40 pips. Anyways, this is my 2 cents. Fixed scale view. If you just have a gun with a certain caliber, unless you got an elephant gun, but you can have that on another thing where you're looking at the big picture. 4 hour charts, completely different world, keeping the same pip. You're going to wait a lot longer to get paid on a 4 hour chart. But look at these, same price. That price is good across the board. Obviously, we're back at fair value. You want to buy this one for a possible bounce. And of course, it looks really obvious. You can see the whole structure here. Internal top, great buying zone. This just a big buy pocket. Big sell area. Look at this thing. Buy here next week for a bounce. Huge swing trade setups. Already preformed. They hand it right to you. Sell limits up here for scalps, and gonna buy here next week. The 50. Look at this top bottom controversy on an angle at the 50-yard line. So I got 4 pairs on this one. I took the other demo down to 6 pairs. But after hours, market's closed. I'm having a little bit of market withdrawal because a couple brokers were closed on Monday. So I was jonesing. I had to double up on my meds. Oh boy. I think I spent more money on that than getting stopped out. All right, so I guess you're supposed to say Happy New Year and all that nonsense. So 2017, it's an odd number. So you have to trade odd lots now. You have to trade 3Ks now, 5Ks. That's the next 2017. Like it or not, it's coming. And then hopefully get back to trading as usual. Supposedly, you're not supposed to trade during the holidays because it's not as liquid. Oh my God. It's a $4 trillion a day market. If there's a trillion traders trading tickets, it's better than me trading stuff with the guy across the street, trading car parts.